Deaths are a major part of any story, and Tokyo Revengers isn't shy of killing its characters off. So today, I thought of discussing the major deaths in Tokyo Revengers, which are irreversible. As in, Takemichi cannot go back in time and save these people. There will obviously be manga spoilers, so if you are an anime only, I suggest you close this video. You have been warned. Before I start the video, if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like as it helps me get this video to reach out to more people. And if you like what you're seeing, do subscribe. I try to post at least one video every week, so hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss out on any videos. With that out of the way, let's begin the video. Shinichiro Sato was Mikey's older brother. He was also the founder of Black Dragons and was a famous delinquent back in the day. Even though he didn't have much strength or physique required for being a leader of a big gang, his charisma and personality attracted a lot of people to follow him. We know how important Black Dragons become to the story in the manga, so it's not wrong to say that he has had his fair share of influence in the story, and also in molding the character of Mikey. Mikey admired his brother a lot, and it's one of the reasons he took a liking to Takemichi. His never-give-up attitude reminded Mikey of his brother. Shinichiro was a kind person who could look out for others, particularly his family, whom he loved dearly, teaching his younger siblings about delinquency, fashion, bikes, amongst other things. He had a bike shop once he got out of his delinquent days. But we all know about the tragic accident that happened a day before Mikey's birthday. Unknowingly, Kazutora and Baji break into Shinichiro's bike shop in order to steal a luxury bike as a gift for Mikey. And when they were caught in the act, Kazutora sneaks up behind Shinichiro and knocks him out with a wrench, killing him at that instance. Baji was late in realizing that it was Shinichiro's shop. His death could have been easily avoided had he realized it earlier, or if Kazutora wasn't such a psychopath who would kill a person without any sort of hesitation. And the fact that he kept on believing it to be Mikey's fault after killing his own brother goes to show how messed up Kazutora's mind really was at one instance. It's one of the first major irreversible deaths in the story and played a huge part in the plot as well. Speaking of playing a huge part in the plot, Baji's death was another such instance. Keisuke Baji was one of the founding members of Toman and its first division captain. Baji had a wild personality. He loved the thrill of adrenaline. He would punch someone out on the street for no apparent reason, only because he feels like it. He was very loyal to Toman till the end, to an extent that he would cast himself as a villain in front of his own comrades and friends so that he could protect them. He joined Valhalla not because he wanted to crush Toman, but only to get more info on Kisaki, as he believed Kisaki to be an enemy for Toman. To show his loyalty to Valhalla, he even goes to an extent of beating up his own vice captain Chifuyu. During the fight between Valhalla and Toman, Kazutora sneaks up behind Baji and stabs him. Though it wasn't fatal in the beginning, the blood loss made him faint. Enraged by his apparent death, Mikey fights Kazutora with a full intention of killing him. Later, Baji surprisingly stands up and stabs himself, claiming that he wouldn't let Kazutora take the blame for killing him, because if that were to happen, Mikey would surely kill Kazutora right there. He didn't want to see his friends fight among themselves and kill. Hence, he sacrificed himself in order to save Toman. We later learn that it was Baji's idea for forming the Tokyo Manji gang and that he put his friends above anything else. All of this was done to protect his friends all along. While on the deathbed, Baji warns Takemichi about Kisaki and leaves Toman in Takemichi's hands. He dies in the arms of Chifuyu, thanking him for everything. Overall, it might look like a death that could have been easily avoided, but Takemichi didn't expect Baji to stab himself after temporarily avoiding the outcome of Kazutora killing him. And his death wasn't in vain. It opened Kazutora's eyes and avoided turning Mikey into a killer. An unexpected outcome and a very sad death, I would say, especially for Chifuyu. Speaking of close, next one was the death of a very close person to Mikey. Yes, it is the death of his sister Emma Sano. It all starts when Kisaki suggests Tenjuku leader Izana Kurokawa to kill Emma, his own half-sister. Izana visits his half-brother Shinichiro Sano's grave, where he meets up with Takemichi, Inupi and Mikey. Mikey orders Takemichi to take Emma away to a safe place while he deals with Izana. But little do they know that Hanma and Kisaki were ready by the roadside to attack and kill Emma with a bat. Right before these events unfold, we see Emma talking about how she will help Mikey no matter what, which makes Takemichi realize something. Emma is the only person that understands Mikey very well and always supports him. And since he saw versions of Mikey in the future who are surrounded by darkness all the time, it leads him to another question. Is Emma even around in the future? And just when he is left wondering, Kisaki shows up and in an instant charges towards them on the bike. Takemichi stands in the way, tries to avoid the swing of the bat, but little does he know that it wasn't for him. In the next moment, the bat hits Emma with full power and she is knocked unconscious. Kisaki flees the scene and Mikey arrives to see his sister bleeding from the head and lying unconscious on the ground. Mikey immediately picks her up and starts heading towards the hospital on foot, carrying her. But you know it's too late when she starts speaking her final words, asking Mikey to let Draken know that she always loved him and asking Takemichi to take care of Mikey in her place. The sudden realization on Mikey's face when he says that Emma's body has turned cold was indeed a very sad moment to read, possibly the saddest moment in the manga. Unfortunately, this one is irreversible death as well. Izana Kurokawa was the half-brother of Mikey. In the whole Shinjuku arc, he was one of the main antagonists. He was also the 8th generation leader of Black Dragons. He always had admiration towards his elder half-brother Shinichiro Sato, but things changed when he died as there was nobody holding him still on the right path. Shinichiro even used to talk about Mikey in front of him, which Izana obviously didn't like, and Izana's hatred towards his younger half-brother grew more and more. When Shinichiro died and he was left alone, he created Tenjuku, who wreaked havoc in the city by hunting down and beating up Toman members, which eventually led to Toman vs Tenjiku fight. Mikey and Draken were obviously not involved much in the beginning as Emma passed away. Takemichi was handling it for majority of the part. And towards the end, Izana dies by coming in the way of Kisaki pointing his gun at Kakucho. Izana proceeds to explain that he is not a blood brother to the Sano siblings, but a subject of an affair of another. He finally accepts that he isn't alone because of Kakucho and accepts the defeat in his dying moments. Till his dying moments, I personally disliked his character. He just came into the story and became a very important character and a very ruthless one. Earlier timelines have been important too, but this one was especially important because Takemichi had to change the future since he cannot go back as Naoto was shot dead in the present. And I disliked how Izana got majority of the spotlight in such a short time. Not to forget that he was cold and brutal when it came to his methods, but the way he jumps in to save Kakucho in the end and how his body moved on his own, not gonna lie, he turned his character around for me right there. In his dying moments, he reveals that he wasn't blood related to Mikey, he was someone else's child. He hated the fact that he was all alone in this world, but it was Kakucho who lent him a hand in such tough times, and hence he jumped in to save him without any sort of hesitation. Even though there was no way to save him, he went down with one good deed in the end, and for that he surely gained my respect. Which brings me to the final irreversible death, which is none other than that of Kisaki Teta, the said antagonist of this whole story. Now, this one is a bit tricky because up until now, we never got a Kisaki POV in the entire story. Like, what were his motives? Why was he trying so hard to make Toman turn into a criminal organization? Was he a time leaper as well? Well, we got most of the answers right before his death. Right after Izana's death, Hanma grabs Kisaki and starts to flee on his bike. Draken quickly gets on his bike and Takemichi hops onto it. They chase them down the street. While Draken takes care of Hanma, Takemichi faces off with Kisaki. They get into a proper fist fights with punches left and right. He starts telling his whole plan of controlling the underworld from the behind, making Mikey his own puppet for it during the fight, and how his motives was indeed his love for Hina, which was quite surprising in the beginning, but it made sense since Hina knew Kisaki since law school. But going to an extent of killing people, getting yourself involved in criminal organizations, just to have the girl you love look at you the same way as she looked at Takemichi might look like a bit extra. But then again, it's middle schoolers killing and controlling hoods, so I guess it's fine. Though, I would have expected a better motive. Anyway, Kisaki escapes again and Takemichi runs after him. Here's the interesting thing. He shouts that he won't let Kisaki go back to the future again, to which Kisaki stops and questions going back to the future. Then he asks something that I'm sure surprised a lot of readers. He asks Takemichi if he still thinks that Kisaki is a time leaper, implying that he isn't. And just before he is about to continue, a truck hits him out of nowhere. He's gravely injured. As you can see, his arm and legs get snapped out of the place and he dies on the spot. This death was surprising at the least. We never got to fully hear Kisaki's side of the story. I'm hoping we see him in the future, at least as a flashback or something. Well, there you have it. These 5 names are, in my opinion, the major irreversible deaths in Tokyo Revengers. Who do you think was the most saddest? Let me know in the comments down below. Mine would be Emma's death. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. That helps me get this video to reach out to more people. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.